listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean. I'm also with Alan Cochrane. And if any of you would like to text the show, you can do it by using the numbers 8, 12, 15. You can follow the show on Twitter, the well-known social media operation, at Frank on the Radio. And you can email the show through the magic of email via the Absolute Radio website. Good morning to you all.
Morning.
Morning.
Lovely to see you.
And you?
That was very polite.
Yeah.
We've already had a tweet. Someone has painted a portrait of you because they missed enrolment for the Sky Portrait Artist of the Year. And I think it's rather marvellous. I might put it up on our social media.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Really? I think it looks a bit like... As I said, like I was playing Winston Smith in 1984 stage thing. But that's a look I like.
But it's nice that he went to the trouble. Thank you, Anxious.
I like it.
At Anxious, he's
when
called.
I look in the mirror, I think the
Yeah.
look I'm after is a pressed person from the future.
Hang on, this dude's got "anxious" as their handle, and you're saying that it doesn't look quite. I can't imagine.
Maybe his name's Arthur Anxious.
Maybe. I stand corrected.
I knew a family of Anxiouses in
Did you?
Birmingham. Yeah, Verity, Very we called her.
Very anxious.
Yeah. Saviour, extremely anxious. Called extremely anxious. Oh, no. Shut up. Just, what am I... I'm tired.
Family,
Look, I've had a very hard week.
Oh, God.
I've had a series of traumatic experiences.
What happened? What do you mean?
Well, last night, I went to... something I
wish we'd never asked.
rarely do. I went on a stag night.
You did not.
Legend!
Thank you. I left a gap. I left the legend. What I call the legend gap, having announced that. And thank God Alan filled it.
Thank you.
So,
He can always be relied upon to fill the legend gap.
yeah, so I went on, my God, I've been filling the legend gap for years, dear. So, I went there, and...
Well, tell us more. Who's,
you know,
you
I
allowed to
can't-
say whose it was?
No, I don't want to say whose it was, but it was,
celebrity.
It was a friend of mine. That narrows it
Nick
down
Knowles.
considerably.
I'm going Knowles.
Jeff Brazier. No. I know it wasn't.
Toby Anstis.
No.
Okay.
Paul Coyer. No. I'm sorry, if you know that is, you'll laugh. If you don't, trust me. So anyway, it was a sort of... It started as a dinner, you know, at a table. Like, you know...
Ow, I don't like the sound of it started as. This sounds like things got out of... a little bit out of control. Wild.
So, I arrived. I'd just done a 12-hour day at the office there.
Wow.
And I arrived and there was, you know, nice people there. Anyway, I don't think we'd been there half an hour before quite a buxom blonde lady in a police uniform arrived. When I say uniform, it was a slapdash version.
Oh, an approximation.
Could you still see the markings of where it had been folded in the plastic?
Well, I didn't want to look. It was a PVC thing.
Oh.
And I mean,
Was it?
I never for a second thought she was an actual member of the constabulary.
Right.
No.
How old was this person getting married? Were they born in the 40s or something? Having a strippogram?
I'd forgotten that I'd honestly forgotten they existed. It was the weirdest thing. So
what happened?
well, I'll tell you what was weird about it is that as if Nick Berry had turned up, it wouldn't have seemed more out of place. Sort of. But the odd thing was I was absolutely overcome. Wait for it. Overcome with the sense of I don't want this woman to take her clothes off.
Yeah.
Oh,
really
that would be really impolite if you redressed her, though. I'm pretty sure.
No, yeah. She realised it was like the fourth bridge. I was at the other end of her putting them back on again.
Yeah, that
But
wouldn't be
no,
good for her ego.
it was quite a moment for me in my life, because you know I've always been a tremendously decent chap, but obviously one has
bar one area.
But one has the animal within.
Yeah.
It seems like the animal within has has either died or left the building.
Joined a decent chap.
Oh, this is a great day for us.
But more,
I think that happened some time ago for you, Frank.
No, but I haven't seen a strip. The last time I saw a strippogram, I remember shouting, "This is Thatcher's Britain," and someone said I took the edge off it for them.
Yeah.
But the fact that I shouted that dates it.
The last time I saw a strippogram was in a pub. I think I was at university, and all I heard was these lads shout, "Handsome," and I don't like that.
No, I just. Well, I'll tell you how it progressed.
Do we want to know this? Do we have a choice?
Let's put it this way: she arrived and said, "Not very private here, is it?" I mean, we hadn't been introduced. So brash. She was really brash personality.
Frank, she wasn't booked for a personality.
Good call.
I don't know that. Maybe they're personality based stripograms.
Yeah.
Who just come and are rattling good fun.
Oh, I'd like to do that.
Oh, well, anyway, I'll progress with this.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now we're going over to Frank Skinner in 1978, where there's a strippogram in a police outfit has arrived in a pub.
Strippogram.
It was. I honestly didn't know they existed anymore.
Can I just say, was this a public restaurant? Is that what it was?
Well, it was a sort of an alcove.
Oh, okay.
Of
So it's
of
not
a
like there were
public
other
restaurant.
diners that
Well,
were
there
going...
were other diners.
I
Get
would
off
have
my table,
objected.
please, madam.
I would have
They were
objected.
close enough to make it even worse. I mean,
Oh,
I don't know
really?
what it was. I'm not trying to set myself up now as some great politically correct person. Obviously,
Don't worry, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're safe.
I don't know whether it was the thought of my partner, of the Holy Roman Church, or, of just the proximity to food. But I just
Yeah,
didn't
could've
want...
just-
I really didn't want her to get... I wanted her to go. And it wasn't like there was an inner tussle with me. There was nothing. So anyway... the guy who was getting married, he was in the toilet. So someone said,
Don't like the sound of that.
Someone said, "Look, we got to
timing,
hide her."
All right, hide her.
So the waitress then, and I thought, oh no, the waitress knows. She thinks we're all in on this together. The sophisticated
In a way, you are.
waitress. Well, I wasn't. She said, "Oh, you can go over here," and she took her into through this curtain.
Oh, she sounds nice.
Yeah, but the weird thing about it was the curtain, I realised, this is one of the lighter parts of it for me, the curtain was a curtain that was just flat against the wall. There was no door behind it. So this woman went in there, the police officer went in there, and it was just a bulging curtain. She was actually just...
Excellent.
It was like... She was standing against the wall and had been covered, just
Playing hide and seek with a 3-year-old or something.
Making
Just
her
feet
even more
sticking out the bottom.
noticeable.
Yeah, but it was the weirdest thing. This bulging curtain right next to us, like when Polonius hides behind the arras in Hamlet.
Yeah.
That's what I thought about at the time.
I was thinking like Boris Becker, but it doesn't matter. It's all very similar.
So what happened then?
Well, I was honestly having a mild panic attack, and it shocked me a bit. It makes me feel that perhaps my libido has said adios.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I remember thinking, what people we can't smoke in here, but we can do this. And then it became apparent that the other guys, I think it spread like a virus. Suddenly I realised it was quite a few people saying, and then someone said, "I'll go and have a word with her," and they went behind the same curtain. And
What, were they also flat against the wall?
3 hours.
They were
3
less
hours
flat.
they were behind
Yeah.
the curtain.
they were less flat. They were holding back the curtain a bit. I mean, I could see the handcuffs from where I was.
So what did they say to her?
I think they just said that it was inappropriate. I mean, not just...
Well, they cancelled her.
Yeah. They said it was inappropriate, not just for that event, but just as a life decision for her.
Why did they hire her?
Well, I think it might have been hired. She might have been hired by someone who didn't make it.
Oh.
Right.
As a sort of, a bit of a gag. But when we drove in this morning, I went past the local TA centre, and there was 2 armed policemen outside, and I thought, I don't know if I'll ever have the same respect for you. And they'd done nothing wrong. But
So did she just head home then?
So then she just went.
I hope you paid her.
Oh, well, someone paid her. I certainly didn't.
I don't think Frank would be footing
Third
the bill.
autobiography title of yours.
Yes. But the whole thing was a bizarre experience.
Yes. I can't decide how I feel about it, Frank, because I don't know whether you should have sent her home, to be honest.
Well, what do you think we should have let her do it?
Leered at her for a bit.
No, I'm not suggesting, but then is that more humiliating that she's got all the clothes on, she's turned up, and then your services aren't required anyway?
Well, I mean, the alternative was not acceptable. We could have said, why don't you come and dine with us? But I mean,
Yeah.
she had a policeman outfit. Policewoman outfit.
Nobody
fishnet.
can relax.
No, and you don't want to sit on fishnets for a long period of time. You get grid.
You
Yeah,
know,
I certainly do.
You get thigh grid.
Yeah.
I hate thigh grid, although he's very good in Harry Potter. But what I would say, if there's let's get together now and let's stop this social phenomenon before someone else gets...
strippogram.
It's only a
Yes.
social phenomenon in 2016.
Really catching the crest of a wave here, aren't you, with the
well,
campaign?
clearly it's still out there. I think we should get together and put a stop to it before someone else gets embarrassed.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
On reflection, sorry, Al, I was just going to say, I think you did the right thing. I think the right thing was done.
Well,
Just by...
There was no alternative. other
Yeah,
than to
as
sit
long
and
as she
watch
was
it
paid
happen.
for her time.
I'm sure she was.
And also,
To hell with her.
I mean, I can
Charming.
see it from her point of view. I am a jobbing comedian, and occasionally I've set off to gigs and thought, I really wouldn't mind this being cancelled on the way there, and them saying, "Do you want the money?"
Yeah, paying you off.
I should think she
Oh,
was.
man.
She was chuffed.
Well, I mean, Chris Evans started that way. He was a Tarzanogram.
Was he?
Oh yeah, and like Mr. Muscle, sort of wimpy kind of funny.
Yes.
act. Yeah,
But the
yeah.
people who watched her walk in PVC
Well, they
police.
thought they were about to be arrested for a moment. Let's
Well,
not.
they were about to
No,
receive
but-
some terrible news.
No, but when she
which in a
walked-
way they were.
When she walked out again, like 5 minutes later, still dressed and that, did they think, oh, maybe she was a police
Yeah,
person?
why was that policewoman's sleeves held on with Velcro?
The uniforms aren't made the way they used to be.
Yeah, we don't
the
know the
cuts.
various strands of the force now. We're always being surprised.
It's amazing they have those huge slits up the back of the skirt.
Yeah,
And also, she had a truncheon, which, it's time for an automatic rifle.
When you say she had a truncheon, sounds inflatable. I mean, it sounds just like some dodgy
I
thing
don't know.
you get in the
To
fancy
be
dress
honest,
kit.
I couldn't look at her.
No, I understand.
In case I'd changed my mind.
I think that would have been
Well, hang on,
worse though.
let's
if
not
you'd-
shame her.
Yeah,
I'm not shaming her.
Because-
it's the.
Well, actually, I'm slightly
circumstance.
shaming her.
No, well, you shouldn't shame her.
But if she'd had to go
Did she have
through,
to be a policewoman?
if she'd had to go through all
Well,
that stuff and like do the strippogramming, is that
Yeah.
what they call it? Stripping. If she'd had to do all that and you'd all looked away like sort of,
Well, that's why it's best that you
that's
sent her
not a
away.
situation that we could have allowed to happen.
I don't think that would be nice because I always feel for the cabin crew when they do the like face mask and the.
Oh, yeah,
pointing at
no
the
one
exit.
look-
People
I
just read
always
their
look.
books.
No,
watch.
I make a point of looking.
Yeah, me too. So in the similar situation, I think you would have had to watch the whole strip. You'd have.
I must have told you when I was on a plane with Mark Foster, the international swimming star, and they did the safety thing, and he just read the magazine.
Oh no.
Thinking to himself, well, if we crash in the ocean, don't worry
He'll
about
be
me.
absolutely
Yeah.
fine.
Don't worry about me, dear.
I'm the best swimmer here.
Yeah,
He was
exactly. I just held on to him.
It's
Wouldn't it be
sign
great
of
if we'd all
manners.
just held on to him like a sort of a... Like, you know those police display teams when you get 12 men on a motorbike? Like that, but on the surface of the water.
Oh,
with
Frank.
him just leading us to the nearest
We'd
coastline.
be like
Be-
the Alsatians, yeah.
Do you know what that's what they should do in business class? When you check in, they should just give you your own swimmer for in case of an emergency. You go, here you go, you're in business
Why
class.
don't we just always
Yeah.
travel
Have
with
a
a
Mark
swimmer?
Foster.
Yeah,
exactly.
we wouldn't need the life
I
jackets.
bags Phelps.
Oh yeah, he's big
Now,
feet.
we've
Big
had
feet, apparently.
a tweet in saying, at Dad's 50th, a stripper turned up. We've gone in a strange direction, the show this morning.
Yes, it
early
is.
as well.
Dad took off his sports jacket, covered her, bought her a drink and gave her career tips.
Respect.
Yeah, respectamondo.
Yeah, I love the idea of covering someone with a
Covered
coat.
her.
Such an old-fashioned
Like she was
idea.
getting changed at the tennis or something.
Sort of thing, yeah. Who was the streaker, Frank? Erica?
Row.
Yes. Sort of thing you'd do to her.
Yes, indeed. Maybe I'll have to... if next stag night I go to, I'm going to go to one of those toweling booths that you see people in on the beach getting changed. I don't know. Well, I'm sorry I brought this up if it's low at the time, but it was an astonishing walk down memory lane for me. That's memory, M-E. Yeah, stunning.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what all this has made me think about, though. That fancy dress still works, even if it's just one person.
Yeah.
Because I notice, like, my son, he has a very refreshing, sort of random approach to fancy dress.
Right.
So he was Peter Pan a couple of weeks ago, just because he fancied it. There was no event.
Right. Just went for it.
So,
He's often in fancy dress when I go round.
We knocked together and then he was Simba. Mm-hmm. Just went for it. I wasn't going out. And I thought, there's times when I think, God, I'd love to be like a cowboy today. If I just came in here as a cowboy, it wouldn't hurt you people.
Wouldn't hurt. No, wouldn't hurt me.
But I think that'd be great.
You're in the right part of London for that look.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, whatever it was. But I think, how rarely does one's urge to dress in fancy dress actually coincide with a fancy dress party?
Yeah.
That is a good
well,
point,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I often get I wore some high vis when I was in Miami, and I thought I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
It's just like construction worker vibe. I thought it suited me. I had the helmet and I had the high vis. I couldn't wear that. You'd laugh at me if I turned up in that.
But were you
You'd ask questions. I was on a tour.
No.
Oh, you were on a tour?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I didn't wake up in the morning and think, I'll put this on over my bikini.
Yeah, but why not? That's what I'm saying. My point is, why can't I wake up in the morning and think, I'd quite like to be Catweasel today. Google it. There must be... there must be cosplayers listening to this.
Yeah?
Who?
I would hope so. Cosplayers, people who go...
Cosplay. He doesn't know what it is.
People who go...
Costume.
Can you explain to
Yeah, they often
the ones
dress
with the bad
as...
shoes.
Yeah, they'll dress... No, but the people who dress as often
It's a
sci-fi
Japanese tradition.
characters or manga
okay.
characters and
Oh,
stuff.
right.
There's a lot of Doctor Who cosplay. If you
Okay.
go to a convention, you'll see lots of fezzes and...
I'm probably not going to go to that, but
Well,
we'll
what's
go
never
with it.
say never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to town, these people.
If
Are they
there's,
in
any
town?
if there's any cosplayers listening to this, I'd love to
There aren't
know.
any cosplayers listening,
But
really.
why
are
not? I bet there is. I'm guessing there's at least 7.
they? Okay.
I bet there's
Do
more.
you get up some days, if you're not going out to a convention or some sort of event, and just think, you know what, I'm just going to wear it around the house?
Just sort of like a living, breathing Mr. Ben. That's what
Yeah.
you'd
Yes.
like, wouldn't you? A little
That'd
shop,
be good.
Frank. You could just
I
go
could
in
see
and think,
that.
I'm a beef eater.
Yeah, but why would that be bad? Why would it be bad?
Nobody said it's bad. You
Okay.
express yourself however you want.
I think I'd be...
It's not bad. The only thing that's a bit dodgy is that it's been inspired by an unwanted strippogram. This life ambition.
Well, and partly by my own child. It's that weird combination.
Yes.
But I mean, let us take a leaf from the book of the transvestites. When they want to dress, but when they want to dress as a woman, they dress as a woman. They don't have to
Yeah.
wait till it's an event. It's
Yeah.
based on a sort of emotional. Yes, today I feel
Yeah, but you can't
like
compare
a woman. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
your desire
They've
to
got the
put a
song.
beef eater's costume on to
I
that.
think you can compare it in a sort of, I admit it's probably a less stronger impulse. I'm not saying at heart I feel part of me is beef eater. Anyway, you brought up beef eater. A beef eater wouldn't be on my list.
Oh, come on,
Fireman?
as if it wouldn't.
But-
It's mainly cowboy on
But
Frank's list.
part of me...
So what's your
Cosmonaut.
top 3?
I'd
Cowboy?
say slightly quirky ranch hand.
But it's all based around cowboy, isn't it? This is about a cowboy fantasy.
well.
No, the
West.
first Doctor.
The first Doctor, what, the one with yellow teeth and dandruff?
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, I think you've got to build on what you've already got. So the first Doctor and...
Who is that, William Hartnell?
William Hartnell, yeah. And then probably... I don't know where...
No, we've got
probably
3.
Batman.
You've got Ranch Hand, Batman. Really? You want to stick with Batman?
I quite like Batman. I know it's become a bit Route 1, but it'll
Okay.
always be special for me.
Okay.
And what difference does it make if I want to dress like that? And I've spoken to transvestites, and they just think I'm going to the dentist. You know what? I'm going as,
If you
Julia.
dress as Batman, don't climb to the top of any tall buildings, because they might think you and Kath are having
No,
problems.
but I mean, Batman's perfect for the dentist, if you think about it, because you're giving a proscenium arch to the actual area of interest of the dentist.
And also the other people in the waiting room won't be able to see if you're worried or not, so it won't affect their worry. Like, they'll
yeah.
just, oh, he's got
No,
his
and they won't
game
for a
face on.
minute think you've got mental health problems. Man waiting in the waiting room with a cape.
Batman, can I have that copy of Motormart when you've finished with it, please?
Certainly, citizen.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So yes, fancy dress, that's what I think. I had a man come the other day to my house. And I've got one of those, like a phone so you can speak to them at the door.
Intercom.
Yes.
Entry phone.
Not now, dear.
Okay.
Yes. I've told you never to call me at work. And he said...
Yeah, but you've got a strange sign pasted to yours, which says Ken Green does not live here.
No, it's the Golds.
Okay, the Golds do not
We keep
live
getting
here.
people saying we brought a parcel for the Golds. And I said, well, who are they? Honestly, so Kath put a sign up, without my permission, which said, the Golds do not live here.
Yeah.
And I tell you what's I found impressive.
Also, they don't after that AIG incident.
No, but what I found really impressive
Yeah.
is we've had 2 or 3 tradesmen arrive and said, hello, is that the Golds? And Kat said, no, there's a sign, and they've gone, nah, just kidding.
They're doing
I think that's quite impressive that they've done that. Anyway, this guy arrived this week, and I picked the phone. I said, hello. I always try to sound a bit more male in case it's just in case it's a potential someone who's going to jump me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll do the dog bark as I pick it up. Slightly it's off off mic. Yeah, sorry. Hold on a minute. Will you get down?
Yes, the might think Elvis is in the background.
Can I help you? Yeah, I'll do it like that. By then they've thought maybe this is the wrong house. I'll try another one. I'll try that one with all the milk outside.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This guy, the thing went, so I lifted up the phone, and this guy went, Frank Skinner, Amazon. That was all he said. Oh. And I went down, and as I went downstairs, I thought, wouldn't it be brilliant if I opened the door and he got a Dracula outfit on? It would have just been the best thing, and this is what I mean about fancy dress. We need to get you don't need a party, just bring it into your everyday life.
Okay, well maybe we should all just do it randomly.
Yeah.
But already you're formalising it.
Oh, right, yeah.
I know. I'm not saying I'll tell you when I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it, Frank.
I think it would honestly. I'm not saying this for a fact. It would make my life, I know, a little bit happier if I had those 3 outfits in the closet, and some days I could just think, hey, William Hartnell.
Yeah, good.
Big. Imagine doing Question Time as William Hartnell. I mean, it would thumbs in the lapel.
What does he wear, William Hartnell?
He wears this. I never quite understood why. No, he wore a sort of Edwardian, like check trousers, and a sort of black frock coat.
But Stephen Tompkinson, it sounds.
It was
at a premiere.
It's the sort of thing that when you see, when you watch a drama about the Barretts of Wimpole Street.
Yes, I know.
Sort of thing Robert Browning might be wearing.
Did he have a little sort of hat, a strange Ottoman Empire hat?
He had a sort of Cossack hat that he used to wear.
Okay.
As they used to call them. Yeah. I remember when blokes around Birmingham, the sort of the ones aspiring to middle class, used to wear a Cossack hat. Do you know the ones I mean?
What do you mean?
Well, you know an international rescue hat. that
Right.
they
Yes.
wear on Thunderbirds, like that, but made of fur. So it's that
Oh, yeah.
shape of
Oh,
quite a
I
thick
get it,
fur.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to call them Cossack hats. I don't know what they call them now. If anyone's got the technical term for one of those,
Oh, I imagine that'll light up
Imagine
the
if Frank
switchboard.
just started wearing that with no warning whatsoever.
I'd be happy to wear
Next
one of
week
those.
he just walks in that.
but I'd want it. You know the way you can buy those Scottish tam o' shanters with the red
Love
hair.
those.
If you could get one with the Hartnell white hair coming onto the Cossack, that would make me so happy.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. If you're just tuning in, well chosen. Good timing. 'Cause it's always a strange first hour. Oh, I look back on now as a bleak comment on
Do
Broken
you?
Britain. So you can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website, for goodness sake.
I enjoyed it.
Sorry, Frank. Someone's just sent a picture in, which is, you know the portrait I was talking about earlier? I appreciate this is a largely visual thing, but it's worth it.
But we do post this on our...
Yeah, we will put this on social media.
on the socials.
Well, it's very quick work on this person's part. It's a picture of, you know, the portrait that someone had very kindly painted of you, where
Yes.
you look slightly futuristic. They've put on it a Cossack hat with white hair bits
They
on
haven't.
it. They have, and I'm pushing this retweet, I think.
Well, I
It's
want
extraordinary. So you'll
wanna
see this shortly. This is a portrait of Frank with the William Hartnell Cossack hat with hair.
I want to see that.
Okay.
Also, for people that have just tuned in, Frank has been spending a little bit of the first hour on the subject of everyday fancy dress, where he just sometimes gets a notion to dress up in a different outfit.
Yeah.
Often cowboy. And 563 has texted in, on the subject of everyday fancy dress, I recently saw someone in a full Darth Vader costume on a packed escalator at Southwark Tube. It was about 7:45 a.m.
Yeah.
The effect was a bit spoiled by the fact that he was standing politely on the right rather than sweeping down on the left in true Imperial style. That's good work, Chris from Kent. Well
I
done.
like
I'll
that.
tell you what I hate on those tube escalators. When there's a slightly sort of faded sticker on the moving black handrail.
Oh, yes.
You don't like that?
I don't know, there's something about that. It's about the idea of people going on with stickers for that purpose.
You know, one of the
Do you ever
sadnesses...
give your shoes a little polish?
Oh,
with a
yeah,
brush?
every time. Every
No, I've
time.
never done that.
Do you know, it's marvellous. You know the little
Every
brush?
time.
I've never whittled it up the brush at that.
Can you explain, Alan?
I'd have thought one could
You know, on the
lose.
side of the stairs. Yeah, I mean,
one
there
could
is...
lose a toe cap.
There is a tiny bit of jeopardy, but
Do you
I
know,
think
it's
that's part of
worried
the
me,
fun.
but what price shiny shoes?
Exactly. Every time.
That's this
In
morning's
fact,
phoning.
I referenced that to in a recent stand-up show.
Did you?
I'm not stealing material.
No, I'm just,
No, but
just saying
what
that I
they
enjoy
always
it.
do,
I enjoy it that much.
comics, if you mention something that they're doing in stand-up,
yeah.
they have to tell you in case you see them and you think, oh, he's got that from me. Am I right,
I
Al?
like the idea of you saying what they always do about comics.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Can
I
I
was
say-
trying to get on Emily's side.
Can I tell you
Thank
my
you.
favourite headline
Thanks,
in
Frank.
any newspaper this week that I've seen? My favourite headline of all
Yeah.
was Taylor Swift wins Taylor Swift Award.
Yes.
She won an award that has her own name, and she admitted if they'd chosen someone else to give the Taylor Swift Award to, I'd be kind of bummed about it, which is a bit, like, unhappy, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's fine to say on the radio, isn't it?
I think that's all right.
Good.
If a little American, but yeah.
I thought it was
Sort
all
of
right
doubted
until you went to the areas of explaining why it wouldn't be all right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got forensic, but
Yes.
I love it. I love it. It's her record. It's not her record company. It's some
How did it happen? I don't quite understand.
BMI.
Why was there a Taylor Swift award?
I think because they wanted her to go to the awards too. I think
But
that's-
even
So you just cut out everyone else.
I can understand the cynicism of that. I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. You heard it here first. But you know, I won Rear of the Year, and I think it was '99. I was offered
move
it.
on, love.
I was offered it in '98,
What?
No
and I
way.
said I'd love to have it, but I'm actually
Frank,
not.
you're talking about this as if it's the England manager job.
Yes,
I was
I know.
offered it in '98.
I said I'd love to have it, but I can't actually make it on that day to turn it up.
Oh no!
Next thing I know, they've given it to Richard Fairbrass.
What, he could be listening to this now, not realising.
He won't be listening to this.
But at least he got the award.
I'd be surprised if he's up this early on a Saturday morning, Fairbrass. I think he's still a
He'll be
party animal.
training. He'll be training.
Will he?
Oh, yeah, he'll be
Yes.
lifting.
No,
He's got a great bod
I
under
should
that
think
shirt.
he was up till 4 in the morning. Is he that
He
kind
was
of
too
guy?
sexy for his shirt. That was one of his...
You gotta feel
That's Jimmy
my-
Somerville.
No, that's what he'd be dancing to.
Oh, I see.
No, I know what he... I know.
Stereotype.
Don't worry, I can do the Fairbrasses. Stereotypes from 20 years ago. No, 30.
Do 'em all.
Maybe 40.
But how nice, though, with this Taylor Swift award. You get into your Uber, Frank, to go to the Frank Skinner Award.
Yeah.
There's none of that horrible feeling. Will I,
Oh,
won't
yeah.
I? Shall I prepare a speech? It's all about you.
But in the
That's
unlikely event that I was... someone wanted me at their award ceremony for prestige...
Yeah.
Not since
Then
Rear of the Year.
give me a lifetime achievement, give me a special something. Don't call it after me. I mean, let's not rub their noses in it.
Oh, I like it.
Well, I was going to say,
I'd be
you have
embarrassed.
essentially had Frank Skinner Award because the Walk of Fame, I mean, that was all obviously going to be you because they'd done that cement patch on Broad Street.
Yes, but the other people are... I mean, who are the previous winners of the Taylor Swift Award?
Well, actually, the last time that particular company, BMI, gave an award dedicated to a singer was Michael Jackson in 1990, and that
And who
turned
won
out
that?
absolutely fine.
Who
didn't
won
it?
that?
Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I had Nick Knowles won it. It was a real
That was a
shock.
turn-up. It was a last-minute... no, I don't want... I mean...
Will
You
Drive
don't want the
South.
Frank Skinner
I
award?
don't want the Frank Skinner Award.
I'll have it.
Oh, I'll have it.
No, there isn't one.
I don't want to battle you for
You're
the Frank
nominated.
Skinner award,
No, but
Emily.
you're nominated for an award next week at the Archivas.
To be honest, I'm quite happy with the Alan Cochrane Award, but
Yeah.
you can have the Frank Skinner Award and the Emily Dean Award if you
The
want.
thing about the
Okay.
Archivas is it sounds a bit like Arkeith. It's my brother. And if I was nominated for the Arkeith Award, I wouldn't mind that. It would suggest a nomination for, you know, for being a sort of a sort of good-natured black country lad.
That the only time this had happened was Michael Jackson, Taylor Swift, and R. Keith.
Yeah. But ours is a slight variation. It's my brother's name, at least.
Yeah.
To have your own name. Although I have often thought, now in recent times, if I ever had a pet Swift, I wouldn't be able to resist calling it Taylor. You know, the way people
Oh,
call
yeah.
You've got to do it.
That'd be
Frank
good.
479, Frank and the team, the William Hartnell hat is called an Astrakhan hat. That's
Well,
Mike
it's
from
made of
Portsmouth.
Astrakhan, certainly.
Okay.
Because Tony Hancock famously wore a coat with that Astrakhan collar in his TV show.
We're so on trend this morning.
I know we are. Hartnell, Hancock.
Yeah.
All, we're just doing it
Strippers.
alphabetically.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Got some bad news for you, Frank. There's mutiny in the ranks. You know, occasionally we get a text in correcting something you've said. You, and this was breaking news as far as this show goes, you claimed just moments ago that you were offered Rear of the Year and then the following, and you couldn't make it, and so they gave it to Richard Fairbrass.
Yes.
And then you won it the following year. 002 George in Bexley has texted, Frank, I believe you are wrong. You won Rear of the Year, brackets ROTY, close brackets,
Thanks for that.
in 1998. and
okay.
Fairbrass in 1994. Sorry, George in Bexley.
Blimey.
And then he sent another text saying it was actually Gary Barlow the year before you.
Yeah, it was
but
G. Barlow, he says.
No, they didn't get in Barlow, though. I'm sure they got in Fairbrass. So what I've done is, and this is what happens with the memory, is they've offered it me in 94 by the sounds of it, and then they've waited 4 years, and I thought they did it the next year.
That's
Oh, that's good. I'm glad we've cleared that up.
Well, no, but
'cause
there's
I've
an
been wondering for
important
years.
thing here. That means
What?
that your Rear was good in 1994, and it stayed good until 1998. I
Well,
mean, that is a real...
Can
I
I
don't
say,
know.
controversially, I think it stayed good till 2016. How about that, then?
God bless you for that, but I think what's happened
Hats off to
is-
your Rear.
One of the best in the business.
I think it looked good in 94, so it was registered as good. Whether they went back to recheck it.
Right.
It's like the way when we look at stars in the sky, we're receiving light from that was generated some time ago. They, you know,
Right.
they might not look like that anymore.
That's the problem with
I wonder
your-
when my
well, that's the
peak
factor
Rear
of your Rear.
year was. Well, it's
Oh, well,
interesting
you're
to
not
think.
there yet, darling.
Oh, Frank, I love that.
I mean,
nice.
you're...
As a treat, I'm going to read you out an interesting missive we've had from 999. I know.
It's not her from last night. Oh dear, God, carry on.
Frank, there's an Frank, there's an architectural award, and 15 years ago, the announcer read thus: the Richard Rogers Award for the best Richard Rogers building goes to Richard Rogers.
That is.
True fact, and that's from James sitting in a van.
Well, no, there's three things in that. First of all, Richard Rogers, as many of you know, was a really very famous architect. So I'm not surprised he's got an award.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite logical that he built the Richard Rogers building.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it was called that. It's saying for the best Richard Rogers building.
Oh, I see. But
goes to Richard Rogers.
But what I would say about that is I bet other people have won the Richard Rogers Award.
Yes.
I'd say that's an ongoing thing. But I would be surprised if she hands it over to someone else next year, Taylor.
Taylor Swift. I think I might be in the running for it next year. Wouldn't that be great if I won the Taylor Swift Award?
I'll tell you, I had a very posh doctor once, and he wrote me a prescription. And you know they have got classically bad handwriting.
Yes.
And he had beautiful copper plate writing.
Right.
What we used to call Robin Hood writing.
Right.
At school. And I said, you've got lovely handwriting for a medical man. And he said, yes, when I did handwriting at school, I rather tried. It was very hard. And he said, in fact, I was taught handwriting by Traitor Blunt's brother. Now, it was a reference to Anthony Blunt, who was part of the sort of
Blunt.
The Russian spy thing. But Traitor Blunt was one. It sounds like a sort of medieval way of talking about it. And Taylor Swift always sounds to me like it's that, you know, that guy who makes clothes at the end of a medieval village who's called Taylor Swift.
Very much so.
I bet loads of people have said that to her.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Someone says, and I don't know whether it's true, talking of calling a pet Swift, talking of calling a pet Swift Taylor, I have a cat called Dealey.
Cat
Say good.
Dealey. Oh, very good. It took me a while, because I did it the wrong way round. I did Dealey cat. And that's wrong.
Oh, that's a shame, darling.
Unless it's the school teacher reading the register, obviously.
Well, maybe a Dealey cat if it was registered in the phone book.
Yeah.
Well, I would have done that, but I rather tried.
Very good. Very good. We were talking about awards.
Can I ask a question? I haven't seen the Taylor Swift Award. Is it a small statuette? I mean, you can only get a small statuette. Is it a statuette of Taylor Swift?
Oh, I'm not sure.
One imagines so, yeah.
Leggy Taylor Swift. Leggy blonde Taylor Swift. Is it that?
Well, we don't know.
Be.
We haven't seen it, Frank.
I don't know why you keep saying leggy blonde.
Well, because if
first
you're going to
strippers, now leggy blonde.
If you're going to call it,
He's all gone a bit Batman suit in the dentist waiting room.
If you're going to call it Taylor Swift Award, and surely you want it to look like it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, not really. No. Awards don't have to look exactly like what they're called, do they?
Well, that would have an impact on Rear of the Year, wouldn't it?
It certainly.
And we've had another Rear of the Year update for 002 has said, can Frank name the only double winner of ROTY?
Oh, hang on, ask that question again.
Can Frank name the only double winner of ROTY, Rear of the Year?
Double winner?
I'm going to say...
I mean, you could find it out by looking at your screen,
is
but
it
Frank won.
Male or female?
Female, I'll give you...
It's got to be Fliss Kendall.
Oh, my gosh.
No.
I think I've just seen it, but I knew who it was.
Oh,
I don't know if I have seen it.
Easy to say that. No. Go on, have a go.
No, you say it.
No, well, you...
No,
have a guess.
honestly, no.
I've read
Is it Michael Gove?
No.
Because he has actually got a double rear.
You're convinced that he's got a big...
Oh, I've seen it.
All right.
It's absolutely enormous.
It's ginormous.
I saw 3 men trying to get him off a train.
And I don't think he's ever won Rear of the Year, ROTY.
But it's not pert,
I don't think they have a super heavyweight classification.
They should do it with weight bands on Rear of the Year,
Couldn't
right?
do it. Imagine if you were nominated for super heavy and no one had told you.
You and Alan both have exactly what I like in a rear.
Oh, this is getting hot in here.
Do Do you know what was awful? Daisy, the producer, just gasped, and then I realised she was actually yawning. I thought she was shocked, but she was just bored.
She's so bored with our Rias.
It's Carol Vorderman, double winner.
Well, that's fair enough.
Oh, I wouldn't have gone that. I would have gone Smiley.
Oh. Maybe.
You know why Vorderman's got a double win? Here's my theory.
Tell me.
She's got a great bum.
I know, but she's sort of on a
That'll
second
help.
one, if you know what I mean.
She's on the
Oh,
second
yeah, what does
bomb.
that mean?
She had the original, the sort of old-fashioned petite one that people used to like.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And now she's got the sort of, booty call special that's, again, popular in the 21st century.
Okay.
So she is one of the few people whose Rhea has kept up with the times.
That's nice.
And I must say, she looks great on it.
Okay, should we go back to
She
stripper?
looks great on it.
Should we go back to strippergrams or Hitler?
She looks great.
Where do you want to go now, Frank?
When I said she looks great on it, I'm on about, it's one of her breakdancing moves. She uses it for absolute tethering, and then she spins like a top.
I love that show.
God, absolute tethering. That's our new nautical station here on Absolute Radio.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
895 says, I just googled Jules Rimet and he doesn't look like the World Cup.
That's a good point.
Is he not winged?
That's a good point.
There you go.
I think if there was an Alan Cochrane Award, it should look like me, kind of gangly. And actually, it could be for services to wearing double denim. I could be in, like, denim shirt and denim jeans. I quite often do that, don't I?
Well, it could be in double denim. You know, when you see that Degas sculpture of the ballerina, and it's actually got a little tutu in material on
really?
it. They could do it like that.
doll denim, like the... Yeah, I think you could have the award for making Kung Fu accessible.
I'm not into Kung Fu. I'm not having that award.
Hapkido.
Hey, I'll tell you
It's
what.
Kung Fu, it's a my oldest day.
Hapkido.
I'd forgotten this, but I'll tell you what I genuinely think I could win an award for is tiptoeing. I am so quiet when I want to be. It's a really
Is
good
that part
skill.
of your martial art thing?
I stayed with some friends when I was filming
What use
something.
is it, though?
Well, let me tell you. I was a guest and I was getting up really early. I was getting like 6 o'clock calls, so I had to be up at 5:30 and out the door sort of thing. And one day I left so quietly that at 10 o'clock in the morning my friend Claire said, "Do you think we should go and wake Alan? I think he slept in and missed work." That's how quietly I'd left the
In
house.
fact, they actually had an alarm on downstairs and you didn't set it off.
Yeah.
But what it was when I was a kid, I read this, like, How to Be a Secret Agent book when I was a little boy, and it said...
There was a tiptoe section.
There was a tiptoeing section, and it
Wow.
said, even on squeaky floorboards, if you put your feet at the side of the stairs, like
Yes.
adjacent to
yes.
the wall, you don't get a creak. And I've implemented that in my life ever since.
Oh, is that right?
I'm aware that this now sounds creepy. You're all staring at me.
No, what I was thinking how much I would give to have a sequence in the next Bond film where Daniel Craig tiptoes for a long, quite a distance. He's such a man who can make... I'd rather not... can I talk to you about the tiptoeing? Ben, I don't feel good about it. We could get in a body... I know.
I could do that. I could be that guy.
Even so, people at home, they're going to think, I'm seen as kind of craggy, kind of a manly, and I think the tiptoeing is... Could the villain... Well, it's not right for the villain. Well, is it right for me? I mean, is it? Okay.
Chris
Daniel
Eubank
Craig
last
there.
week.
Yes.
Chris Eubank last week. This
I'm
week,
loving the Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig,
Man of a thousand
questions the
voices.
tiptoeing stage
Well,
direction.
it's good because he's got this celebrity repertoire now. He used to just do random impressions of nobody, didn't he,
That's
darling?
true. That is
Now
true.
you've got people.
I don't know if Daniel Craig does he talk. It was random actor. It was random rugged actor.
Yeah, I liked it.
But even
Me
so,
too.
one could argue he was a random rugged actor. Talented as he may be, he still took my cleaner. One could argue he took my nanny, but that's another story.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
If I change my name to Frank BAFTA,
Oh,
could that subliminally encourage the BAFTA judges to give me a BAFTA award in the Taylor Swift, getting the Taylor Swift?
I'm halfway there with the Emmys.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
good.
Come
Very
on.
good.
Yeah.
I like how Frank dropped enough hints that he got on Doctor Who, and now he thinks he can just keep doing it with everything.
I don't think it's going to work with the BAFTA, let's face it.
It'd been Oscar
This man can do
I've had
anything.
my moments. Pretty pictures like the wardrobes in my lungs.
But here's the other lyric.
Taking bedposts round to Swaziland. That's the way we were. I think just because you don't know the words doesn't mean you can't join in.
Not at all. I agree.
Yeah, but you can't go that off topic.
Bread and liver, that's my favourite Côte d'Azur. Anyway,
I just,
Why
you know,
not?
when you sing that, I think of you in that Batman outfit, sitting in the dentist surgery.
no, sitting at home alone. Imagine being Batman at just a day, one of those days you're having a day in, maybe just tidying.
Batman
I think-
watching Homes Under the Hammer. Hello.
Yeah, I think it's about time I cleaned out the box room. Hold on a minute. Let's just get my utility belt on.
We've actually had a text. You said that we'd probably have some. Is it cosplayers?
Oh yeah,
And cosplayers. We've had a text. Hi, I go to conventions and I dress up as a Star Trek captain at these, and I sometimes wear it out and about. I like out and about.
yeah.
I'm assuming that it's not someone from Canada going oot the boot, but that's just out and about.
That's.
In Lidl.
But would you think? Oh, you know what? I'm not. I might watch the test match today, but I'm going to do it as a Star Trek officer. Just sprawled on the sofa in the uniform.
My
Brilliant.
concern is if I saw that guy in a shop, I'd think, oh, they're stocking up for the spaceship. What's the ship called in Star Trek? I can't remember.
Which one are you
Enterprise,
after?
I
The
believe.
Millennium Falcon.
Oh, there you
No,
go.
Enterprise,
That's
Millennium
Star
Falcon,
Wars,
Star-
as you would
Oh, in
call
Star
it.
Trek, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Frank, would
Sorry,
you,
I'm
for
getting confused.
example, now we've
I
established...
would queue before you ask. Yes, I would queue at the post office as a Dalek.
No, not Dalek.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I'm genuinely considering... Someone's got a birthday coming up next year. I'm genuinely considering the Cossack hat with the white hair coming down either side in a sort of
Yeah.
bob format. Would you wear that?
I tell you what, I would. What I'm thinking of. Let's picture this. Let's say there's it's a party to say celebrate someone's university graduation. Who's
Who
gone?
are you hanging out with these days?
Well, I'm at the Open University. Maybe they're in their
Middle-aged man.
Might be in their 70s. And I turn up, say, as
And everyone says, oh, what's he doing here? It's a 22-year-old's party.
say if I turn up as John Wayne in Hondo,
Oh, yeah.
right? And then someone says it's not a fancy dress party, and I say it is for me. What? Where's the comeback on that?
I like the idea of you going to a fancy dress party as William Hartnell, people that are born in 1989.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, often fancy dress is from the past, isn't
Yes,
it?
this is true.
I once went as a court jester, I remember, to something.
Did you?
Yeah, with all the bells and everything. I quite like. Because part of me thinking this would have been my work clothes if I'd been
Yeah.
born 500 years earlier.
Nice.
Which is how I feel about the William Hartnell outfit, of course.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I'm a bit worried about lowering the tone of this show, but then, on reflection, it's unlikely, isn't it? I've got a question. You know, I used to think that Google was the perfect place for questions that you're embarrassed to ask people, and then I joined this show and thought, no, asking you two and our readership. I'll tell you what happened. My wife sneezed in front of me the other day. It's not the first time, but it's the first time I've noticed that she put her hands up to sneeze, as I would, but she just covered her mouth. Just total mouth. No
Oh, she's got the wrong part.
nose covering at all. It was 100% mouth cover, and I said, you didn't even cover your nose. And
What did she say?
She said, I know, I just covered my mouth. And I thought, have I been sneezing wrong all these years?
No, I think that. Let me just think what I do. Huh? Yeah, I know.
You go both.
It's the
You
whole,
go half
but
and half.
I had to
Yeah.
recreate it. It was all in a big
It
crime
was like
watch.
her main concern. It was like her main concern was
You see,
when
I don't do that. I do a bit of a bewitched nose
Oh, just
twitch thing.
do you do one of those One of those
Yeah,
sneezes.
very much so, Frank.
Oh,
I'm a
women's-
very good sneezer.
The female sneeze is it's a dainty thing often, isn't it? It really
delicate.
is. Whereas, mine can cause tremors around the building.
I hate people that sneeze.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate them.
Hay fever
Do you?
sufferers.
I rarely do it. I've got self-control. I mean, people do it all the time, and I've been on the tube. I know. I'm saving for a second home, though. And I went on the tube, and some woman was sneezing, and I got up in a passive-aggressive way, just to indicate. I know none of this section of the show is winning me any fans, but I just thought she wasn't covering her mouth, Frank. Well, nose or mouth or any area. No, and I know,
Just free out into the open.
but it was constant.
That is disgusting.
Well, I do this thing now where I don't put my hand on my mouth. I've now realised that why I had to go through. What I do is I pull my top up over my nose and mouth and sneeze into the.
And then you just rub the deposit into your own chest. Is that?
Well, I don't rub. So I lift. Now, if I was going to sneeze, I'd lift this jumper up. And
Right.
And
Do
then.
you really?
Honestly, I'm not. Yeah, that's what I do now.
Don't do it with that nice NASA sweat I bought you.
No, I do it with. I do it with everything.
Sometimes when you watch Match of the Day and the footballers run it, I always thought it was like a little bit of Vicks Vapor Rub that they dotted onto
It
their
is.
chest. Maybe they've just sneezed in the tunnel.
It doesn't. I mean, I did. There was one occasion when I found a bit of muesli in my chest hair.
It's a horrible anecdote.
I do think though it's a very it's a very considerate way of, because you really are boxing the whole thing
Daisy-
in more
Putting it in
efficiently.
your own-
Daisy, have you got morning sickness or are you about to throw up?
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We've had a few sneezing texts. I was asking, where do you sneeze? And by that I meant into your... Like, where
Oh,
do
yeah.
you cover?
Yeah.
Mouth or nose? I go 50-50 because I'm equally concerned. And 987 has texted, I once got in trouble from my mother-in-law for telling her not to stifle her sneeze, as it can cause you to rupture blood vessels in your head.
Is that right?
I'm not sure it is. She told me
I've
not...
heard that as well, I must say.
I like this bit. She told me not to tell her how to sneeze, as she'd been doing it all her life.
I like her. I love the sound of her.
My missus does the same thing, and they both deny they are doing it. Bottom line is, let it out. Andy Winton, Edinburgh. So there you go.
I'm not sure I like his life philosophy.
When I was a kid, there was a public service broadcast advertised thing which used to say coughs and sneezes spread diseases. So we were being officially
Yes.
encouraged not to do that.
Is
Well,
that why
what-
gentlemen carried handkerchiefs with them?
I still carry a handkerchief.
Oh, how
Still a
quaint.
gentleman, aren't you?
You are, actually. I'd describe you as a gent.
Well, I never. It's obviously always brave to get one's handkerchief out, but there it is.
How marvellous.
Can I say that's because it's still partially folded? It's not. It's not adhesive, it's holding it together with anything.
Okay.
No.
With any of my inner being.
So, 013 has also come up with this poser.
Unlucky for some.
If Frank dressed as Perkins again, would it be cosplay or him reprising the character?
I think it would be cosplay.
Okay.
I think because I am no longer employed as Perkins, I think any time I put it on for non-professional reasons after that, it's cosplay.
Okay.
But I'd be uneasy about being Perkins. I think that might be a step too far.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit look at me, isn't it?
It is a bit look at me. Whereas going to the dentist as William Hartnell
Yeah, absolutely.
is what I would term keeping a low profile.
Nobody would bat an eyelid, but if you went as Perkins, people might think that's a bit strange of him.
If
But
I want
don't
it.
you think the
Tragic.
Cossack hat would be a good look for you? Because I often think this. What's my style going to be like when I'm older? I don't know if we all think about this. And I think the Cossack hat is the way to go. for
Do you think?
Yeah,
Well,
I can see that with an old sort of plastic supermarket bag.
What, with the white hair or
Yeah.
without?
Oh yeah, we've got to have the white bangs and the white bob.
But I could I could let my hair grow so it looked Hartnellian. And it would be, I mean, it's not as white as his, but, you know, I mean, it's
It'd give it-
the stopwatch is going down on
Yeah.
that.
Go for it, I say.
Of course, if I wanted to keep a low profile, I'd go to the dentist as the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He always kept a low profile.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
So,
I tell you what I
Quasimodo,
want to
call
talk
him.
about. Did you hear about this extraordinary couple? Not you and Kath.
Oh.
This couple, I read about them this week, and it was one of those wedding stories. Someone had posted it on Mumsnet because she'd received an email from a couple who'd got married,
Oh, yes.
and they were complaining about the gift she sent them.
Oh.
And they said this. She said she sent them a cheque for £100, and apparently the email said, "We were surprised that your contribution didn't seem to match the warmth of your good wishes on the big day. In view of your position, if you wanted to send any adjustment, it would be thankfully received."
Oh.
I wonder what the good wish is. I wonder when they said the good wishes, did they think that's got to be 120 quid's worth
Well, she might...
of good wishes?
You see, maybe she was very drunk. She might have said something. She might have suggested that she was going to buy them something. And then, of course, she sobered up and they just got the £100.
Oh, you think she actually named a figure?
Yeah. I think maybe she did.
No, surely she just said stuff like, "I'm so happy for you," and they thought, that's not 100 quid happy.
They thought so happy. Mate, I would have thought each so is 50 quid. in a statement like that.
Oh.
So is it just about right?
I don't think my contribution has ever matched the warmth of my good wishes in life.
I
not
would have
even
thought
just in weddings.
I'd imagine they were both scant. I'm all for giving people a second chance, though. If they've given you a substandard present, let them have another try. So you just top it up a bit. I very much like the idea of a wedding gift as a sort of a negotiation.
Yeah, it's just I see it as a starting point.
Well, let's say 100 quid, well, 150, well, hold on a minute, and then get somewhere in between.
Well, she said in your position, I think the idea was the lady had received an inheritance recently, and she felt...
Is that the facts, or are you guessing
Correct.
that?
No.
That's what
This
it
is what
says.
happened.
She'd recently received, and that was
So they
factored
were
in.
saying, given your situation...
Wow,
Yeah.
Blimey, I didn't know that you went through... Like, did you get bank statements?
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah, I think I'm afraid I go the opposite way with this greedy couple that asked for an adjustment in I just
Are
think...
you apologist for them?
No, I think it's really undignified. I think they should be grateful for the £100 they received, and in fact, I don't even think they should ask for that. I think it's rude.
It's a bit straight down the line.
I know, I'm boring. I'm boring. But I actually genuinely
But what is
think...
better, would you say, greed or dishonesty?
Hang on, it's not an either or, is it?
Well,
What kind of weddings are you attending?
I think if you take the 7 deadly sins, there's an instinct to go for a league table.
Okay. I'm not sure how that applies to a wedding attendance.
Well, I mean, one could say they're being greedy, but if they pretended they were okay with that 100 quid, they were being dishonest.
They were being dishonest.
But I think...
Which we would say is a worse crime.
I just thought... I mean, this is a problem that I've encountered in my own real life. Like, when couples...
People expecting gifts.
When couples already live together in a house full of stuff, and then they decide to get married and send you a wedding list, and you think, you've already got an iron, I know you've got an iron, I've stayed with you. Why do I need to buy you an iron just to come to your
that's
big
because
day?
they didn't know you'd stayed with them, because the way you tiptoed in there.
I forget, I'm so silent.
I imagine you stay in houses of complete strangers.
All the time. You went to bed late last night, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Surprised.
Oh, can you imagine if I was just turning in for the night and then I saw the cockerel creeping around?
Tiptoeing about.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought I didn't know you were there. I had a sense of Fred Perry in the building.
I heard him grappling. That's how I knew.
Oh, of course. Midnight grapple.
You know, if that couple had asked me for an adjustment to the £100 cheque I would have sent them a CD by the band, The Wedding Present. That would have been good,
I'd have
wouldn't
said, adjust this, pal, and then done an emoji of an offensive sign.
it? All right, yeah.
Well, the whole idea now of the wedding list is something I have always found a complete impertinence.
Well, tell me why.
Well, if I said to you, for example, my birthday's coming up. Here's my birthday list. I'm putting that online so you guys can select something, you know, in your price range that I want. Wouldn't you think, who on earth do you think you are?
As long as you put me in the higher price range, I'd be all right. Imagine how insulting.
But it's... You wouldn't do it with any other gifts, would you? You wouldn't do it at Christmas. I'm putting my Christmas list online. And also, the whole thing of you have... If you receive gifts, you are agreeing to sign up to the Russian roulette of present opening, when you might be delighted or you might want to throw it in their faces. That's part of the thing. Once you start dictating what you want, it's not present buying anymore. They're just supplying you.
But I think you're being specific. Here's an example, and this happened at your home.
Okay.
Kathy invited me round this week with a friend. She sent us an email saying, would you like anything specific to eat? Ruth, of course, our other friend, said, no, whatever you've got, don't worry about food. I said, yes, some roast chicken, cold, in brackets, assorted salads, cheeses, and couscous. This is so you can see this email.
Good shout.
And
That's a good
couscous,
shout.
brackets, without onions or chives.
Well, I mean...
Now, the food was provided for me.
Yes.
Kathy bought all these items, but I did wonder, did I overstep the mark or did I help her?
I like that a lot.
That's all right. If I wrote to someone who I knew was getting married and say, can you give me some clues? I don't mind that. What I'm saying is, I grew up where if someone's got married, you got them a toast rack. That was what you did, right? No, but I'm seeing things and they're saying
Congratulations.
9 napkin rings. What are you talking about? Of course I'm not going to buy you that.
Yeah, how often are you even using napkins? For 9 as well? Like, I just don't believe that.
I mean, for the Olympics, they probably had 5.
What about Jamie? What about Jamie? Who's just tweeted us, my favourite wedding gift was a whole roast chicken. Sadly, my uncle stole it at the end of the reception.
Good family. That is a good family.
They're Vikings.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had a text in from 961 who says, I'm afraid you're behind the times, Frank.
Is this about the strippers?
Yeah, I'm afraid
Hitler and strippers.
He's behind the times if he's just noticed that.
2.5 hours ago.
Late review.
Or she.
Could be.
It's quite common to do birthday and present lists online now.
You're
for
kidding.
Children anyway. It's the only way to prevent them from getting a load of plastic tat that they really don't need. Chappers, Highgate.
But toys, if you think about it, are a load of plastic I nearly said...
Be very careful.
I lost my nerve towards the end. I could feel anything could come out that rhymed with hat. But toys themselves are, they are superficial, one could argue.
And also, I don't think that guarantees that they don't get plastic tats that they
But
don't need.
most importantly,
to
961, I didn't know people did that.
Right.
Again, I regard that as an impertinence.
I do as well. Just because it's happening everywhere doesn't make it right.
Good.
No.
Good point.
Thank you.
I mean, look at
That's my manifesto.
atheism.
I thought you were going to say drunkenness, but you went the other way, so that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, it's such a thing, isn't it? Here's what I want. I mean, you know what? Oh, anyway. What else? What else from the outside world?
Hi, Frank and gang. My cousin got married 10 years ago and his wife sent around an online John Lewis present list. Early adopters, I would say, online 10 years ago. The only thing I could afford as a poor student was a laundry basket. Who buys anyone a laundry basket?
I
How
bought the
dull.
editor of Loaded one.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought domesticity was a good way to start for him. I thought it would get him on a good path.
When I'm having one of my
He got
Alibaba
divorced.
days...
You got divorced. When you're having your Alibaba days, that'll come in handy.
Exactly.
The wicker laundry
I
basket.
think I'll put it next Wednesday in my diary. Going to be Alibaba the whole day. I'll be glad of that.
I think I bought it just so I thought I could write something funny on the card, because I could say, now you can stop washing this in public.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did, of course I did.
Respectamundo.
I thought you'd respect the joke.
And actually, Paul has got a request that I think Emily might be able to help him with.
Oh, is it bootcut jeans? The answer's no.
No, it isn't, and you're right. The answer is definitely no on the
what is
bootcut
it?
jeans.
Yeah.
As someone who doesn't put gift lists together, could any of the gang give their tips on how they act good surprised when opening presents? I think this is your domain. You're very good at that, aren't you?
Being inauthentic. Okay.
Can I say, though, if there's any actors listening, they'll know this.
Oh, yeah.
There is a technique
Or participating.
in the act. Oh, yes, of course, you're an actor. I forgot.
Occasionally.
And you're a. Would you say you're still an actor?
No, I'm a child star.
Okay. I love that. Is actors do this thing emotional memory, whereas if they have to do something like they have to play sad, they remember a time when they were actually sad.
Right.
And what I do with a present is I remember a present that I really, really was excited about and hold on to that.
Oh, that's
And
a
when
good
I get
idea.
a rubbish present, I just press replay.
That's
Nice.
good, Frank.
I'm not saying it's foolproof. It can end with a snarl. But I mean, this week, for example, I got a present I was genuinely pleased with, and now I'll hold on to that.
That's a
Right.
really good idea.
And you'll use it when somebody gives you
Yeah,
something
I was
rubbish.
given sea monkeys this week. Do you know those things?
Real monkeys?
No,
Real-
sea monkeys. They're like dehydrated animals, creatures, and you put them into water and they spring to
They
life.
come alive?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you might...
What, cryogenics?
They were
bit like that,
yeah, more or less. Well, there's no
Really?
freezing. There's no
So
freezing.
they did?
I think, now you're going to press me on this. Luckily, we have readers who know the answers to this. I think they're in suspended animation brought about by dehydration, and when I put them in water, then life returns to them.
Oh,
it's
Dr.
It's
Frankenstein.
like Lazarus. If it's Belarus, it's Lazarus, surely. And I remember they were in every comic, when every Superman and Batman comic had them in when I was a kid.
Oh.
And yeah, I got some this week. I can't wait to
Who bought you those then?
revive. People I work with as an act of gratitude. Think
sleazy.
think on.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We just had an email. I won't say the name of the sender just in case it's sensitive. Frank and the team. I went to a wedding last year for my best friend who is a millionaire several times over, and the invitation requested a financial contribution to their honeymoon. Say no more.
What?
I mean,
Really?
that is outrageous, isn't
I'll
it?
say the name, come on.
It's
No,
from
don't say
No,
that.
I don't.
No, just in case it's one of my friends.
Yeah. Or mine. You similarly worried, Al?
I'm not that worried, no. We requested no gifts. My mum got me
Did you?
bowls, and my auntie sent towels, but other than that, no wedding gift.
Did you
What
say
got
no
in bowls?
gifts?
did
Yeah,
you
we
say?
already had stuff. Yeah.
Oh, you're so
Bowls.
lovely.
Yeah. Bowls. B-O-W-L-S.
Yes.
Not boule.
No.
not petanque.
Cool. I think it would be quite a nice wedding
That would
present
be a lovely
for a
gift,
summer
wouldn't it?
evening when
Yeah.
you've run out
Oh,
of conversation.
I'd love that.
The thing is, we've already got boule. We've got I've been thinking about this. Remember I said on the show that we should define ourselves by what we don't own? We haven't got
Yeah.
a garlic press. Still haven't got a garlic press.
You don't want that.
Don't want that. I've got a knife.
Okay.
But I don't know what I want. I only want
I think
the
that
stuff.
should
I
be the
don't-
trailer. Just Alan saying. Just Alan saying, I've got a knife.
And then cut to another bit of the show where I'm saying I'm really good at tiptoeing. Slightly terrifying
That's
trailer.
going to come back to haunt you, that statement.
Yeah, I don't know what we
And
actually
did you or
need.
did you not say on the morning that you had a knife?
Oh, he's in his judge character there.
Yes.
I like his judge character.
No, I think I was the examining QC.
Right, nice.
Did we
Judge,
read
I'd
Patio
interrupt.
Dawes' tweet?
This knife comment. What was the radio station? Absolutely never heard of it. That was me as the judge.
Good.
Patio Dawes?
Is that a handle?
Yes.
Is that a handle?
Patio Dawes.
Oh, Irish, I say.
Very good.
We had 6 of my hubby's family at our wedding who looked like they were on their way to Tesco. They gave us a card with £15.
I do miss those days.
Hang on, Aladdin. 6 divided 15 ways.
What does that work out as?
It's not much, is it? That's my answer. Not
a
much.
Well, that's not very precise, Aladdin.
I don't know. What is it? 150?
I said-
It's not a lot, is it?
My brother-in-law, who is a a very successful man. I sent him a £5 note in his birthday card.
You didn't.
Yeah. It was a tribute to yesteryear when you used to get relatives send you £5. Well, actually, with me, I used to get a 10-shilling note.
Wow.
Yeah.
In my car.
Postal order. Loved it.
Talking to history, talking to you sometimes, isn't it? A 10-shilling note. Goodness me.
Queen Victoria's children.
Isn't it?
Talking to history. Here on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
704 has got in touch to say my wife's uncle and auntie, who brought along their own champagne and was chauffeur-driven to our wedding, gave us £10 in a card.
I like that.
Respect.
But when was
there's a bit of
that?
me
That might
thinks-
have been in the 1930s.
I think there's respect to that. Yeah,
When
yeah.
£10 would buy you a masonette.
And
More history
933.
there, Al, from Frank.
Sorry, I think I was
you could get
rude.
a
What did you
masonette.
call it? Talking to history. We should get a Talking to history jingle.
Talking
think
to
I was
history
rude
with
to you.
Frank Skinner.
933 has texted, "Morning, Frank, Emily and Alun. When I got married, brackets the first time,
Oh, I like him.
we received a joint present from 3 work colleagues of my new husband, which consisted of 3 tea towels and a plastic press for imprinting a smiley face on your toast." See, that is the gift that keeps on giving, I think.
Tea towels is the one thing you can never have too many of.
And you know,
Oh,
you're
I
going to
dispute
smile
that.
every morning and think, I'm really glad I got married. I wouldn't have smiley toast if I hadn't.
Actually, you could have too many tea towels, couldn't you?
You think?
I've got too many.
Have you?
That's the end of that anecdote. I'm not going anywhere with it.
But when people say, you can't have too many of, and then whatever it is, probably, I wonder if there is anything you can't have too much of unless...
Oh, too many passwords, modern world, isn't there? Too
Do you know
many.
why I
but you
like this?
can't
Because
have
it's
too
such
many
a
of-
Frank thing. The pedantry, I love it.
No.
It's like when I told Frank that someone had said to me recently, nothing could be further from the truth. Frank suggested that I riposted by coming up with a list of things that were actually further from the truth, which I thought
And
was
there would have
brilliant
been
advice.
loads of them.
Yeah.
The moon is extremely adjacent to my home. It's nowhere near accurate.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I tell you what I didn't discuss with you. What about my trip to badminton? I went to the badminton horse trials.
Oh.
Because...
Guilty?
no, not proven.
Right.
Okay, I went to the Nuremberg trial.
More history there.
Apparently they were just following orders. Anyway, carry on.
Spoiler alert. I'm doing a new motoring column, so I'm very much...
No!
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Let's just...
Whoa.
You're doing a motoring column?
Yeah, I do it for InStyle magazine. I do a little video to go with it as well. It's fabulous. And I took Gary
I find
Lineker
this-
out in the Jag.
Wow.
And Connie Huck in the Mitsubishi.
Brilliant.
When
When I say brilliant, it's through gritted teeth, because I have been designated the motoring correspondent on this show, but now it
Oh.
turns
I know.
out
Yeah.
Emily's got a
That's all
column.
happening. I'm loving it.
Outrageous.
I didn't know you were a real car enthusiast.
Me neither, I am now. And I've
Oh,
got- No,
okay.
I am. I am a car enthusiast. But the idea is that I write a column that doesn't just go on about torque, as in TORQUE.
Yes.
Questions that you would have. What would be your first question if you were buying a car? What would you want to know, Frank?
What colour is it?
Exactly,
Colour.
me too.
Yeah.
Because when people say to me, what kind of car you've got for the next 5 years, I'll say it's like a silver grey.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloke asked me how many litres my car was at a gallon. What are you talking about?
Can't imagine you answering that.
Yeah,
I know.
what are
I
you
don't
talking
know.
about? And also, why would you want to know
How
that?
many litres?
You'd need to check the handbook for stuff like that, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
The handbook.
He doesn't know what the handbook is.
It would be in a
You know,
folder
one doesn't-
somewhere.
But you know what I
Lock in
discovered recently? There's a great thing, which is that if you try and put diesel into a petrol tank, it won't let you. So that's good news.
No, I know that because I
Tried to do it once.
I drive. It's a wider pipe.
It goes the other way, though, doesn't it? It does
Frank,
work the other way.
you
around.
sounded such a motoring correspondent then.
What,
It's a wider pipe.
Wider pipe.
It's to do with the torque.
Anyway, so...
What is the talk? I know it's cheap, but what is it? Anyway, you went to...
So I went to badminton, because it's all these car companies sponsor all these fabulous events, you see. One of which is badminton horse trials. I love a bit of equine, as you know, these days.
Yeah, you've gone equine crazy.
I know. So I went with my friend Connie Hark, and we drove there. It was a fabulous event, because I love the horse people.
What did you drive in, a Corvette?
No, we drove in a Mitsubishi.
Oh, OK.
What kind of horsepower are we talking about?
I don't know. But it was cross-country, so it was all very exciting. Lots of very posh people, lots of very I-rather-tried people.
OK.
Yeah, you said, I said, I fell off my horse the other week. They went, oh, dear. They find that quite funny.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad.
But probably also admire you for it.
Oh, they loved
that you've
it.
had that
They said, did you get back on? Oh, yeah. They went, good show, good. They like that. But we had a bit of an incident, which was rather unfortunate. We had a lovely time, loved the cross-country. We lost our car. Couldn't find it. No one told me that badminton was 52,000 acres. I didn't know that.
That is a lot.
So when we drove in, I saw a sign that said 42. I said, Con, it's fine, because I know where the car's parked. I didn't realise there were about 7 car parks, and probably about 10 42s. So we were wandering around for about 2 hours.
I did that once with a professional driver at a European
Did you?
champion. We came out and he'd forgot where he'd parked it.
It was so frightening. I was almost crying. I saw a sign saying lost people. I said, we're people and we're lost.
Well,
How do we get out of
I've
it?
now got a thing on my car where I have an app where I can go to a map and it'll show me where my car is.
That is brilliant.
Frank, we got so desperate.
amazing
We went up
what
to
they
this
can
man
do
driving
now.
a buggy, and this woman who'd been doing cross-country eventing, one of the riders was in the back, and Connie just commandeered it. She said, please give us a lift. And the woman was... I said, Connie, that's Zara Phillips. I mean, how embarrassing. We tried to steal her buggy.
She didn't give you a lift.
No, but she gave Connie a nice smile, because I think she recognised her from Blue Peter.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
OK.
But it
Well,
was...
she's got a lovely smile, Zara Phillips.
She's my new idol.
Oh.
I love her. Anyway, we found it in the end, but it was
And I
very
love her
distressing.
shops.
Yeah, they are good. They are good.
I mean, they're stylish, but quite reasonable.
For people
Yeah.
at home who can't afford the app that Frank's got to find his car, I'd tie a little ball of wool around my gear stick and then I just unfurl it as I'm going places.
Oh, do you put a plastic
It's a
bag on the top of the
little
aerial?
thrifty version of the
like
same
when the
thing.
luggage comes down the carousel, orange bag. Oh,
No, but it's very good, the app.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get that.
So is the wool though, and that's cheaper, I would say.
Frank, do you want to come out for a spin with me? Let's do it. Any car you can choose. Oh, and you, Alan. We'll all go.
Sounded like a bit of a postscript there, didn't it?
Yeah, I'll have to... See, because I can't name a car.
Frank wants a red one.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
no, Frank in the Ferrari. Midlife crisis, we're not doing
Frank
that.
in a Ferrari, I know, I know. Okay, Nick Ferrari can use that as his jingle.
Oh, I'm not taking him out for a ride.
Anyway, we love Nick Ferrari. Can we make that clear? He just,
Yeah, we
just
do.
happens to have a car name.
Yeah.
So look, we've ended in a peculiar way involving Nick Ferrari. But we went from badminton horse trials to Nick Ferrari. It's a well-trodden path, let's face
We
it.
started with stripograms.
Yes, that seems like many years ago now. Thank you so much for listening this morning. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.